I've been traveling since I was a kid, but it's never been more complicated from the moment you arrive at the airport to you getting comfortable on the plane. But you might not believe it, but what you're wearing on the plane may affect your stress level and your experience. So, in this video, I'm going to help you with what to wear and what not to wear to get you to the airport and through the TSA stress free and keep you even comfy on the plane. So, stay tuned. First, let's talk about the most important thing, and that's getting you through the TSA easily. And that is avoiding a pat down because of what you are wearing. So let's start from the bottom up, which begins with your footwear. You'll want to avoid shoes or boots that are difficult to remove, like those that you have to slip on or have a lot of laces to tie or need to be pulled off. These will slow you down. Even though we are given now our own little stations to hand off our stuff to the TSA, you don't want to be fighting with your shoes while you're thinking about the order of things that have to be put on the conveyor belt into those bins. And yes, there is an order, and footwear is the first item you want to put into the bins. And then you want to put your items like your wallet, your change, your computer in the middle, wedged between your footwear and your final item, which is your carry on. You also want to avoid high heels since they're awkward to remove and dangerous if you have to make an emergency landing.
Same thing for flip flops, because you'll end up walking through the TSA scanners barefoot, and the floors, shall we say, are less than clean. You'll also want to avoid packing any kind of shoes into your carry on that might have steel in them, as it might trigger a check of your carry on, which will slow you down. So, what should you be wearing instead? A pair of comfortable sneakers or walking shoes with socks. Make sure that the laces are not too tight and easy to remove. And in the winter months or on rainy days, consider keeping a pair of shower caps to put on your feet so that they stay dry when you walk through the scanners. You can also buy disposable foot covers from Amazon at a reasonable price too. And since we are talking about protecting our socks, make sure that your socks are protecting you, and consider using compression socks to avoid getting DVT or deep vein thrombosis. Because I personally have known of two people who have gotten it from long flights, and one did not have a happy ending. And on a final note, if you have TSA pre-check or you're 75 years or older, do not count on not having to remove your shoes, because sometimes in certain situations you might have to. Now, working from the bottom up, let's talk about pants. Avoid pants that require a belt to stay up, because you are going to have to take that belt off and put it into a bin before you walk through the scanners. And you're going to be asked to put your hands over your head, and having your pants slip down or having your hands over your head in the scanners isn't a good look. Try to avoid pants with lots of pockets, since you're going to be asked to empty all your pockets and put all the contents into the bins. And you don't want to be caught fussing around trying to empty everything out of all your pockets, or worse, forgetting something in one of your pockets, which will slow you down or get you unwanted extra attention by the TSA agent. You also are allowed to hold on to your passport or your real ID in your hand. And by the way, going through security may be different in other countries. And if you're having any difficulties, you might need to Google some information. So, this would be a good time to talk about your phone plan. That's why it's so important to have immediate internet access. You might need to contact the doctor about medication that may be an issue when passing through security, or home for some important documentation. And that's why I like to make sure I have an eSIM set up before I leave home. An eSIM provides you with one less thing to stress about. An eSIM, which means an embedded SIM, is a way of using your phone without spending a ton of money using your local provider, which now costs upwards of $12 a day. Never mind, your allotted amount could be throttled and then you'll be stuck without internet, or using an unreliable Wi Fi because they're spotty and also unsecured. And you don't want to be hunting down an actual SIM card at the airport, which you can do only after you clear immigration, and could be problematic if you need to have your phone immediately. An eSIM connects you to the internet the moment your plane lands. And because an eSIM is built into most smartphones, you don't have to worry about fumbling about trying to insert an actual SIM card, which is tiny and awkward. That is why I use Holafly, who I am partnering with for this video. After doing my homework on eSIMs, Holafly was a no-brainer for me and my friends. And here are some reasons why I chose Holafly.
So this is my friend Steve. We're here at Oxford. Hey Steve, did you know that Olafly serves over 200 destinations?
No, I did not.
See, Steve learned something new. And Olafly has 9 regional plans and even personal hotspots, which can come in very handy when you're at places like the Louvre. And Olafly makes it so easy for you to extend your plan if you decide to go to another country like we did here in Amsterdam.
Setting up Olafly is very easy. Download the Olafly app before you leave, choose your plan. You can either choose a plan for a specific destination or a regional one and pick the number of days you're going to need coverage. And then activate the eSIM the moment you reach your destinations. It's just that easy. You even have 24/7 live support, which is really impressive. Check out the benefits of Olafly and how much money Olafly will save you. And if you use the code Perry's Passport with the link that you'll find in the description down below, you'll get an additional 5% off your eSIM purchases for both new and existing customers. It's also valid on top-ups if you're already an Olafly customer. So now that you have that all buttoned up, let's get back to pants. Try also to avoid pants with lots of metal on them because they could also trigger the scanner, which will get you an additional search. On a general note, you might want to avoid wide leg pants or bell bottom pants or flowy dresses or flowy pants since they can get snagged on things at the airport and on the airplane. And if that isn't a big enough deterrent, think about going onto the bathroom wearing those items. And while we're talking about that, you might want to forego those jumpsuits and the rompers for the same reason. They tend to hit the floor when you're removing them. And just think about how many people were in there before you and possibly even during turbulence. Yuck. So, what should you do instead? Choose stretchy, comfortable clothing that has elastic bands that'll stay up without a belt, like leggings and yoga pants and joggers for the ladies, and sweatpants and joggers and pants that look like these from Skechers for the guys. These actually look nice and they look like pants and they're comfortable on the plane. And try to keep in mind that people tend to expand on the plane due to food and drink. So make sure your pants weights can accommodate you possibly expanding like
Violet Beauregard.
and also try to pick dark colors because turbulence happens. And if you're a klutz like me, you're bound to get something on you.
Now on to tops. Try to avoid any top with metal thread like sequin tops or any metal on them like tops with large metal buttons. Yes, put your jean jacket into the tray for that reason. Underwire bras may trigger the scanner, so you might want to forego those for more comfortable wireless bra. You might thank me later on the trip when you're drifting off to sleep all nice and comfy. All jackets, hoodies, and sweatshirts have to be removed before going through the scanners. So think about what you're wearing underneath those items. This brings me to 2 important points. The first one is that you don't want to be wearing something that is revealing, or worse, nothing at all, because then you could get a date with a TSA agent in a private room, which not only slows you down, but is beyond embarrassing. I've had to do this with a cat in tow who also needed extra TSA attention after peeing on the TSA agent. Very unpleasant for me and the feline. Now, that being said, you are entitled to a same-sex pat-down if that's your preference, but they will slow you down. And who wants to be slowed down at the TSA? And if you have any horror stories about getting through the TSA with maybe a pet or somebody else, please drop it down in the comment section down below. And also, if you're finding any value in this video or you like it in any way, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button because that really helps this channel out a lot. Another pro tip is that your jacket you're wearing could be doing dual duty. And it's a great way of getting through TSA quickly while protecting all of your important items. Try to choose a jacket with a lot of pockets to store all your keys, your passport, your phone, your money, and you put them all in there and then you put it into the tray. So you don't have to worry about any of those possessions going missing when you're passing through TSA. And it also keeps all your belongings together. Or you can keep a small pouch in your personal item bag for these items and put them into your personal item bag until you clear the TSA. You'll also want to avoid shirts with controversial content that includes swear words or violence or political content, which could draw unwanted attention from both the TSA agent and your fellow passengers and the airline staff. Best to keep it simple when it comes to the shirts that you're wearing. And if you're unsure about the shirt, best to avoid it to be sure. More items to avoid are bulky metal jewelry. Also, body piercings, especially if they're all clustered together, could trigger the scanner. Religious head coverings can be left on during the screening, but not if they cover your face. Also, items that can be left on during screening are hearing aids, insulin pumps, cochlear implants, pacemakers, and other medically necessary items like walkers and prosthetics.
Remember, the 311 rules does not apply to liquids that are medically necessary, like antacids, contact lens solutions, insulin and EpiPens, and even over-the-counter meds. You can even take along ice packs for these meds if necessary. Also allowed are medically needed devices like a CPAP. Just make sure that you notify the TSA agent about these items and have them out and ready for inspection.
If you have any concerns due to medical devices, you can talk to a TSA representative at TSA Cares. It is best to do this 72 hours before your flight, and you will find them to be very helpful and only concerned about you and your fellow passengers' safety. They were wonderful in helping me with my 91-year-old dad in getting him assistance with a wheelchair and getting him through TSA quickly and courteously. It's a great idea to download the My TSA app before leaving. You will find this app to be very user-friendly, and you can even bookmark pages you may need, like TSA's What Can I Bring?, which will help you know what is and isn't allowed through the TSA. I'll also be leaving a link to their page in the description down below. Travel rules and flight rules are constantly changing throughout the check-in process, so make sure you like and subscribe to stay up to date with all the changes that are coming our way. And if you don't know about the latest changes that have happened, check out this video over here, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!